Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What's Next with We. This episode is part of the Founder series. We have a special guest today, Mr. Deep Malik, who is the founder at SaleAssist, a live video commerce platform. You'll obviously get to know more about it in this podcast. He's ex Infosys, ex Sapient. We'll also get to know more about his corporate experience before he jumped onto entrepreneurship. I am Vishal Ramaswamy, your host as always, the V in What's Next with We. Deep, once again, pleasure to have you. Welcome to my podcast.
Hey Vishal, thank you. Great to be here, and thanks for giving this opportunity to air out, a founder story to your audience.
Yeah, absolutely pleasure for all of us. Deep, jumping right in, I think we discussed offline as well. I think you have had a unique story in terms of a pretty solid corporate experience at Infosys and Sapient, and then jumping on to the entrepreneurship bandwagon. We are seeing a lot of people in the past few years doing that, having a good corporate experience in across industries, understanding problems that the industry faces, and then going out of corporate and setting up your own venture to solve those problems. So would be good to hear. I'm sure the listeners would like to hear your story. How did that transition happen? Maybe a flavor of your corporate experience, and maybe segue into your experience as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so Vishal, you're right. I did had, you may say, good corporate and a rosy, you may say, career. And I started with Infosys, and initially, I was working in banking domain, like all the top banks in the world, Goldman, Morgan Stanley, Citibank, all of those were my world in which I was living in. And people did found leadership angle in me ki this person a front foot pe khelne wala person hai, so give him some more leadership role. So I did a lot of work in Canada, US, and actually worked at Wall Street also to an extent. I was one of the youngest GPM, which used to be group project manager at that point of time. Then after some time I wanted to move out to a different domain because banking was not so exciting beyond a point. So I looked at a career at Sapient in which they were looking to set up a digital services function. And I was the first one to start the function from scratch. And the whole purpose for this particular function was to manage e-commerce platforms for large multinational companies. And that's where a lot of insights came into the e-commerce and the what we are doing today in terms of live video commerce. We scaled up that function. We had roughly 200 engineers in my team, and my co-founder Chetan also was part of the same team, and that's where our synergy started before we started SaleAssist live video commerce in a full-fledged manner. First, in the initial days, I was trying to look at a different part of the problem from other angle. My first startup was under the same name, SaleAssist, which was targeting the physical stores with an in-store tablet kiosk. So the while online boom was happening, we were looking for a way by which the offline store can also benefit from this whole experience. And we had implemented this tablet-based kiosk in physical stores to give an endless aisle experience. So it was doing good. We had onboarded a few 200 clients in NCR region, but beyond the point, it was coming out to be the point that it needed hardware support involved. Secondly, it was a physical touch kind of an experience, and it was not very, very scalable beyond a point. So beyond the point, we were looking at a way by which this could be scaled up across India or internationally, but that was not, it was supposedly going in that direction. In 2020, when pandemic started, so we are a pandemic-born startup in that way, we actually pivoted into the whole experience that how can we have this live video commerce enabled, because the same retail store like engagement that's missing on the e-commerce channel, and that was our learning from those physical stores implementations as well, that how can we bridge the gap by which we can have a convenience of online and a retail store like engagement. And that's where we started SaleAssist.ai live video commerce in its new avatar. So that has been like a kind of a quick glimpse of my corporate career and how we got it into where we are into this venture.
Awesome, Deep. I think a nice, pretty seamless transition. Like from you were at the banking sector, and then you found out that it's a little bit boring, moved on to e-commerce, And that's where I think you kind of understood that space and you wanted to contribute and kind of identify problems and solve those solutions. And I believe, I'm sure entrepreneurs out there would have experienced a similar experience like you did, right? Like you identified a problem, figured out a particular solution, and then you figured as you went that it may not be scalable. As you said, hardware support, scaling that model becomes a little bit difficult globally. So, Deep, now in your new avatar as a live video commerce, would be great to understand a little bit more in depth about the product, uh, value prop, what problem you're kind of solving, and some use cases that your customers see, and some key metrics that you're tracking. So that would be good to understand.
Sure. So essentially, SaleAssist is a SaaS product. It is, as we know, SaaS scalability is infinite essentially. So that's the model in which we build this whole product. What we do is we enable an online seller or any D2C brand with live video commerce capabilities to give a retail store like engagement and also help in the sales conversion while delivering a better shopping experience. If you look at the whole e-commerce industry, it derives from the model which was developed 30 years back by Amazon, which is like showing picture and selling. But beyond the point, what we see in practical world today is that the average conversion ratio across different domains and across different part of the world is just 2%. While we look at the retail store, the average conversion ratio is anywhere putting across 15 to 25%. So there is a this 10x difference to why these conversions are very different on these platforms. So that's where the live video commerce come into play, in which we tend to deliver best of both world experience. We have retail store on one side, we have online buying on one side, and video shopping comes as a hybrid experience. You may say a digital experience which delivers a better engagement and a higher sales conversion. In terms of the key use cases, what we do is like one segment is the high ticket product selling, like for example, electronics, luxury fashion, furniture, and so on and so forth, wherein it makes sense to engage a person one-on-one and give them a personalized shopping experience and assist them in that selling. So we have this one-to-one video shopping experience, one-click experience in which a site visitor can end up connecting to one of the salesperson live over video to give that kind of an experience. So it's like a virtual but an in-store kind of a experience. Then there are second set of products which are fast moving, or where you may say their order value is not that high. They are lower medium kind of products, for example, fashion, beauty, health. There are segments like those. Here, what it makes sense is that we can give them a live video show, selling show experience in which any one person or any influencer on behalf of the company can come live, and everyone on the site, whether 100 or 100,000 people, can watch it in real time and buy through that whole experience. So this is like a home shopping TV show kind of an experience, but in its new digital avatar. And we also multicast it to the social channels of the brand to give a social commerce, outlook as well. So, and there are other solutions which we have built like group shopping, shoppable videos, and so on and so forth. But the key the essence of this whole thing is that how can e-commerce be made more interesting and engaging than its traditional avatar? And today, as we look at the metrics and the outcomes which we are able to deliver, we see that at an average across our implementations, people are seeing 20% increase in sales conversion, which is like matching that retail store kind of experience. The second key benefit is about higher lead capture. So all these video experiences, when we enabled on the e-commerce side, they're all engaging and people end up clicking or wanting to know more about it. So the moment they click on it, our lead capture forms open up, and that helps us capture more, the leads of these people, increasing the funnel for the brand. So that is a second key measurable benefit. And third is some of these shoppable videos or live shows and whatnot are engaging, and the average session time or the time spent on that particular page or on that website increases by roughly 2x. So there are three tangible benefits in terms of sales conversion, high lead capture, and the engagement time, which is the key value proposition we are adding to it. In period of time, what we have done is we have built like the deepest stack in live video commerce, which has flexible offerings. There are some customers who may want to pick up few of our services and some of them want to take all of them. So we have made it in a modular way that people can adopt to what they can get started easily with, and later on they can do addition of more services. Second is in terms of multicasting capability, in which I can cast it to any other channel. Like we have done a tie with Z Media as well, that if you want to do live event on your site as well as Z Media, you can do that. Third is like we have built this more from a you may say from a technology perspective. It's like everything is all API first framework, that everything should be able to be consumed by API also. So there are some customers who, instead of plug and play enablers, they want to use our APIs into their custom workflows as well. So as we speak today, while it has been roughly more than 2 years on our journey, but some of the top brands in India, including Reliance, Titan, Mahindra, Thomas Cook, etc., they are using our thing, and some of them are also giving a lot of inputs to us, and we are co-creating the product along with them. Also, we are proud to be saying that we are part of almost all the enterprise level startup programs, starting from Google for AI startups, Microsoft, Salesforce, SAP.io, and also building integration with their backend ERPs to have more intelligence driven to the whole experience. Also, we got a little bit recognition, industry recognition. So we were winner of VTech by Retailer Association, TGS 100 globally, and other recognitions also. So today, as we speak, we have a firm product base, a healthy client base, and a good pipeline on which we are sitting on. And the future looks exciting.
Awesome, Deep. I think an interesting story. I'm quite surprised in 2 years you've been able to achieve so much. Some really good brand names that are associated with you, and at the same time, I think a lot of your corporate accelerator programs you're part of. I think it shows validation and recognition that you're on the right path, right? You're solving a big problem and helping brands achieve their goals. It would be interesting to see if there is a live demo that you could show or a presentation that you could share with the listeners. I'm sure people would definitely like to know more about this platform and how it could help them.
So first one is about this one-to-one video shopping, which works very well for products which are high ticket in nature or needs visualization or consultation before we make a purchase. The way it works is that just upon one click of a customer, they can get connected to one of the customer facing representative from the brand who can come live over video and assist them as if someone has walked into a store and you have someone to assist you there. When it comes to if you're going to buy, say, electronic appliance, you have different choices and you have different questions in mind. And if you get to speak with an expert, the whole notion of I discovering on my own gets very simplified by assisted commerce, essentially. So this is the first thing. And the key aspect here is that the end customer do not need to download, install, or do any kind of friction point. It's just a one-click experience which gets delivered. And we have built detailed, deeper workflows to say that if you have, say, 500 stores across India, and if I'm in Delhi, I'll get automatically connected to the nearest Delhi store, and so on and so forth. All these conversations also get recorded, wherein we do sentiment analysis to bring in more insights to the brand, at what customers are asking, what's their perception of the brand, and friction points, and so on and so forth. So this is the first thing. Second thing is about live streaming selling, which works for average ticket products, wherein the instant buy can happen. We can, engage them in a live show like this one, in which one person has gone live, they are showcasing their products, and people can watch it like a home shopping TV show kind of an experience on the site itself. They can ask queries, and then they can also make a purchase. As I was mentioning, this is also getting parallelly routed to their Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, all of those social channels also. So wherever your audience is, we are able to engage them in this manner live, and it's very good for doing launching of new range of products. It's very good for doing flash sales of your popular products. And apart from buying, we have also added booking and live auction as additional functionality for different use cases. So this is just a quick glimpse of things what we do, and then we have scheduling and group shopping and other nuances which we have worked. But I hope this gives a good idea about the live commerce implementation and how a traditional e-commerce buying can be made more fun-based and engaging, actually.
Absolutely. I think very interesting features. Deep, I think this the past few years, if you have seen, the D2C brands have kind of increased in India, a lot of new brands coming across categories. Are you working with any new age D2C startups?
Yeah, we are engaged in multiple D2C startups at this point of time. And for them, the key essence is like they want to directly engage their customers, and the engagement and the repeat factor depends on the customer experience.
True.
If a person gets a good experience, they'll come up buying again and again, and then video shopping brings that extra experience. So yeah, we are working with many D2C brands as well. I would bring one more nuance, which is like the way future, how this whole retail and online can merges. Today, some of the retailers, they end up opening, say, multiple stores across India, which has its own capex requirement. You need to have a lot of people and lot much of inventory to be managed across all these stores essentially. So there are two things which I want to talk about. One is, we are working with one of the brand I won't name because of NDA, but then what they have done is that they have just put up two experience stores. They have no plans to build 50, 100 stores across India. They want to have these two stores in popular cities to where people can walk in and feel and touch and feel the product. But then for everyone else, through their B2C site, they can click and directly see the product over video. So that is something wherein I feel a lot of cost optimization and a better experience can be delivered in this manner. Another company wherein they're into jewelry and they have multiple stores across India, but they have different inventory at different locations. Like in southern India, they are having a taste of different kind of jewelry designs, and in northern India. But then, as because everyone is moving and working from any place, there are people who are, say, some people who want to come to Delhi store and they're looking for South Indian jewelry, wherein they do not get to see those actually. So what they have done is store-to-store video commerce, in which if I walked into a one store, I should be able to connect to another store and still show the inventory and let the customer know do not go empty-handed. So the way we look at video commerce today, we are looking at one way of like online thing, but I think it has its roots deeper into the way physical selling is also done. It can even be optimized there also. So that's the evolution journey we see in the coming few quarters.
Awesome, Deep. I think the features and the product that obviously will evolve as the market dynamics change, right? I think it's a huge space, evolving space, and there's a long journey for you. And at the same time, I'm sure you'll address those challenges as they come. Deep, moving on to my next question. I just mentioned the word challenges. I'm sure in your journey, though it looks very rosy from the front, and you've been able to back some big brands, big customers, good recognition from the ecosystem. I'm sure you would have faced challenges as an entrepreneur, as a first-time entrepreneur, pivoting also in between. So I'm sure listeners out there, entrepreneurs out there, would have faced challenges. I think without challenges, you wouldn't have reached where you are. So I think few challenges that if you could highlight your experiences, how you overcame it, would be quite interesting.
Yeah, so I think there is hardly any startup without an hustle, and it's always an hustle to move
True.
forward. So definitely we had our own set of challenges. It's not about sometimes the technology or the product alone, but then there is a business environment, there's an adoption to the product and so on and so forth. So the first issue what we faced was that uh, like definitely video conversations during pandemic were becoming normal, but then the mindset of people that who were used to say that we will only do in-person sales and virtual selling does not bring that experience. It took a while for us to prove certain use cases before it started to become a new normal. So that mindset change, definitely it took us time from a concept selling to a proven model. Second is we also felt that people somehow were relating video commerce just to be linked with COVID cycles. Whenever COVID first or second or third wave was coming, there was a huge tendency to move and shift towards video commerce. And as the moment the wave was going down, we felt that people tendency was again going back to the previous state of working. And that linkage was something very delusional to us that, why is that? Video commerce is just not about COVID, but then it has its own advantage without or with COVID. So again, I think this year we are feeling that without COVID, luckily there's nothing of that problem around. But still, businesses are waking up and coming, and they are adopting this new thing because they have seen the implementation through their other brands and how it is impacting them. Third is in terms of this brands about their utopian customer experience view, that if we have to bring in new something, then I would first do a lot of changes. I want to first upgrade my website totally, then I will hire a new team to deliver this and whatnot. And for us, it was always like, it's okay, you can always do that in parallel, but what opportunity you have today, you're going to be spending next 3 6 months spending time to do that. Why don't you get started today in its own form and let it be an agile developed? First, see the impact. If it's make value to you, then you can of course put in more efforts and whatnot. So that is also something which I felt that people have their own own procrastination reasons for which are not very logical in nature. Then again, there were other nuances in which we could see that there were people who were saying that okay, live shopping is good, then but we cannot have a person available all the time to engage shoppers. And then we added a little bit of more features to bring some scheduling options and making it more, some recorded conversations also. So those are some of the things over a period of time we have seen, and we have tried to find a way to move forward. This year specifically, I would say that I think all the other entrepreneurs will also agree upon, apart from everything else, there is definitely a funding winter which is going on as we speak. And it's not across just India, it's across globally. There is this phenomena wherein, the investors do have cash files with them, but then they are being very careful with respect to deploying them. So startups have fast journey, and in which they need capital at small intervals of time, and in case they do not get it, then definitely the whole impact and the growth curve goes away. Specifically for D2C brands who are actually have to do a lot of spends on marketing to capture new audiences, because the customer acquisition costs are higher initially. So definitely this is a challenge which is going on right now. Overall, I feel though that it is a temporary thing, at least for India, wherein there's a lot of interest from international community, as well as a lot of optimism internally also, that, and even the government support as well, that entrepreneurship has to be supported in all manners. I hope that next few months we tend to see the liquidity coming more easy and more funding coming in, and the challenges this kind of challenges resolves and goes back to the states of like last year.
Great, Deep. I think very relatable challenges that you mentioned. Great to see that how you have navigated those. I mean, challenges came from multiple of your customers, and how you navigated through that journey. I think you obviously touched upon fundraising. It has been a challenging period, but I see that the good side of it. I see a lot of correction. I see entrepreneurs also changing the mindset from growth to more profitable, sustainable ventures. You're seeing corporate governance coming into play, and VCs also are seeing these things more than chasing growth. As you mentioned, Deep, I've also been in touch with VCs. They have a lot of dry powder waiting to be deployed. They're just waiting for the might be the present period to kind of cool off, and then good startups will get funded. That is for sure. Looking at profitable, sustainable, and obviously the corporate governance aspect. I think VCs are just waiting to deploy. I think it's record sums of money that they have. So I think the next 3 to 6 months could be the recovery time, and then post that we could see liquidity kind of coming in. Deep, segueing to my last question, and basically the theme of my podcast is what's next. You've been in the space, in the e-commerce space for some time now with your corporate experience, and then at your startup at SaleAssist. Would be good to understand from your side, first on the industry, how the industry is going to shape the commerce industry, digital and your physical, and how is SaleAssist getting ready, prepared for the future? How would the next 5, 10 years kind of look like?
So in general, in the online space, there are few things which are happening, which are very, you may say, disruptive in nature. We would have definitely heard about these platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, and the way the margins for the sellers are a little bit on reduction side today, and people are looking for alternatives. So one definitely key trend is that if you are even selling online, you need to have your own direct D2C site, to be able to, have your own audience engagement, because the disadvantage of selling on these marketplaces is you do not have the customer data and you cannot retarget them by any way. So that is definitely the trend which is going to continue. Second is, as we see ONDC involvement, I believe there is a lot of play to be into this open source e-commerce network, and people who develop integrations or develop apps on top of this framework are going to be getting early mover advantage here. We're already seeing the impact in certain areas there. Third is, I just looked at some of the policies by the new e-commerce, you may say policy being drafted by government. They're talking about that some of these marketplaces will not be able to have their private brands sell on the same platform, and different regulations are coming in way. So I think everyone needs to be aware about what the future would be, and it's better to have your own direct customer engagement and access to. And as a discretionary income of people is rising, I believe the experience part is going to be more important than the product or pricing itself. People are going to be more keen towards the whole experience of purchasing and the time they spent on these online sites. So definitely video-based engagement and consumption I see definitely rising year on year. But when it comes to some of the future trends, as I look at, this whole generative and you may say conversational AI is going to be a key game changer. Today, I'll just talk about, we already are having, you may say, a text to video conversion using deepfake characters, but then it is still robotic in nature. But then as I see this technology maturing, we should be able to have any AI character be able to converse with a human in a very natural fashion. And it's not very far away. I feel in 6 months, we would start seeing these kind of a real human-like kind of a conversations. Second is virtual influencers. Definitely that is coming on the rise, in which we have these people who are actually coming as a virtual avatar, brand ambassadors, and who are coming and taking away the roles of some of the influencer or the creator economy as we see. And there is no limit to how much content we can create with them and how much time they can devote on it. So that is something I feel will be definitely rising. I was also surprised to see a small white paper and a small use wherein in conversations like this, I can even morph myself to any other human. Like, for example, you could be talking to, say, at this point of time, Tom Cruise also, and it is all going to be matching my face and my gestures. And if a personality like those starts end up speaking with people virtually over video, what cannot be sold? Essentially, sky is the limit. Like, for example, if you're talking to, say, for example, Aishwarya Rai on the other side, and she's saying to buy a particular purse, why not? So those are the things which are coming in terms of generative AI, which is going to be diffusing the boundary between is it a human or a non-human. Second key thing is I feel cross-border commerce is going to be evolving a lot. Today, we are still isolated in our own economies. Every region has their own dominant players and stuff like that. But then when it comes to cross-border, there's hardly anyone, say, from Indonesia who would be buying something here from, say, Nika, for example, because the whole tendency in terms of the trust factor, the language and stuff like that, it all revolves to, buying in their with their local players. But as I see, with the real-time language translations and contextualization, the cross-border commerce, and we be able to buy with any country, even at a retail level, not B2B level, is going to be a new phenomena, and that will open doors for a lot many people. I believe also that with the 5G coming and rolling out, and it's the whole experience will be much more real life like kind of an experience. Today we still have problems with respect to slowness, buffering, and stuff like that. But I think as we move on, the journey is going to be more faster and more real time, like, and even more ultra HD kind of quality conversations. So these are some of the things which I foresee are going to be impacting and disrupting this industry next. It's very hard to say anything more than 3 years horizon. So I feel that this is like the next 3 year horizon.
Hey, even some interesting insights there, Deep. I think you've been so entrenched in the ecosystem. You're seeing it having obviously an eagle's eye view. At the same time, you're going to depths and understanding key trends. I think what I can pick up is obviously technology going to come into this space big time. As you said, generative AI, natural language processing, chatbots, all of that will make it so seamless that it'll just, as you said, you don't know whether it's a human or a robot at
Yeah.
the back.
Yeah.
So I think that is going to definitely transform experiences. The other one you mentioned was cross-border. Cross-border is an interesting. I'm still surprised that no one has really cracked that cross-border commerce. I'm sure there is regulation, there is maybe foreign exchange, a lot of other issues. The import-export also could be another issue, but I think that's a big space that can be disrupted. Like an Indian brand sitting out of here, selling in an Indonesia, Malaysia, maybe Dubai, and I think if SaleAssist, as from your, I mean, organization point of view, if you can help in that, would be pretty amazing, right? I think it'll help India as a country export more, right? So Deep, on that note, I think very interesting insights. I hope listeners out there can pick up something from here. And as they're building their, it could be their D2C brands, it could be other brands out there, use these technologies so that it helps them improve their sales, uh, look at other metrics that they can improve through such tools. I think there are quite a few tools out there, and use this, leverage it to kind of create those experience for your customers. Deep, once again, thanks for taking out time on a Sunday. Had pleasure speaking to you and generating these insights.
Vishal, pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.